Alright, now welcome back to YouTube. Here we've got another interesting video. Student pilot crashes a Cessna. Yeah, a lot of people sent this to me, and I think I've actually already seen this one as well. Yeah, right here we can see a relatively normal, so far, looking landing that quickly turns into a very abnormal landing, and then a very, very, very bad one. Oh no. Okay, there we go. By the way, don't cut this. Oh, now we've got this phase. Yeah, this is an interesting landing done by a student pilot. Let's just go through this very landing, for example, and maybe recreate it here in the flight simulator, which is something that we can easily do, and just analyze this a little bit, because, you know, you may wonder, well, what the hell went wrong here exactly? Now, the plane used in the video, obviously, is a Cessna 172, actually a 172M. Here we've got a little bit of a different version than that one. This is a little bit more modern, but that really does not matter. What does matter is actually recreating the landing properly. So let's just do that really quick. Yeah, here we go. This is kind of like a representation of this flight here. Let's break this down a little bit. Now again, we're in the Cessna 172, not the exact model, and we're not at the exact airport that the incident happened at. We're actually in Germany, which is actually the place where I am learning to fly at right now, but that's a whole other story. Now let's actually check this out even in slow motion, because we're able to do that here in the outside view. Now, as you can see, the landing didn't look particularly good. Even in the video, you can totally see that the landing was going to be off center line, was a little bit to the left. And then something after touchdown happened, I guess. Something very interesting. As you can see, we have a touchdown here. Again, not particularly good, you know. But then the pilot or something, I guess the plane, veered to the left. Yeah, the plane was very, very much to hitting grass actually, but the pilot decided to then go around, which means give full throttle here, full throttle. And also the pilot used rudder steering to completely steer to the right, which was probably not that good of an idea. Most of the times I should have probably just gone right through the grass then, once you're in that kind of situation, because, you know, we just saw what happened instead was way, way worse. Alright, so as you can see, the pilot tried turning to the right, maybe even pulling up, trying to gain some lift going around, which didn't particularly work, especially here in this case. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the flight simulator is not 100% accurate. And, well, then obviously the plane had a runway excursion anyway, which was kind of like the main thing that the pilot was trying to avoid. And, well, as you can see, the plane is still running at full power. The pilot was trying to pull up the plane. It didn't particularly work. Obviously, the plane didn't really gain a lot of lift. Here in the flight simulator, it kind of didn't work a little better, but obviously here at the airfield, the hangars aren't so close to the runway. In the video, the hangars are a lot closer to the runway, and obviously then the plane crashes into a hangar. Didn't particularly work out. Let's watch that again. Everything I said, you know, we have broken this down. Full power here, full right rudder, and that was probably not that good of an idea, because then that ended up here in this runway excursion. Now here, the pilot tried pulling up all the way, and then that, you know, that ended with him crashing into the hangar. Now, I just wanted to mention here that everything went fine in this landing. Obviously, the plane didn't particularly survive, but the pilot did not sustain any major injuries or something. Nothing happened. You know, something did happen to the hangar and the Cessna. Actually, the pilot was kind of lucky that the things turned out to be like they turned out to be. You know, let's imagine the plane would have taken off and then stalled out mid-flight. You know, you don't want to be airborne and crash due to a stall, maybe even crash into a hangar, and that really did not work out. I don't know who to really blame. I think that is the CFI that is to blame, but that's another story. I'm glad that the pilot piloting the plane was fine. So that's kind of what matters, isn't it? Okay, I mean, you know, up until this point, this didn't look too bad, did it? The problem was really just veering too much to the right to the point where you could not, you know, just get out of it and, you know, try getting on the center line of the runway again and then going around, but this obviously did not happen. Again, I would have probably gone ahead and cut off the power and then just end up somewhere in the grass, whatever. We have got some more plane stuff to check out. Cessna crash in solo flight with a Chinese student pilot. Actually, this is a very similar case. By the way, the links to all the videos are in the video description, of course, because we want to stay legal. Am I right? Okay, now let's check out this landing. I guess happened in China, which doesn't have to mean anything. I mean, they're good pilots, so let's just see what we can do. Obviously, this doesn't look like a good landing. The plane is super fast, as we can already tell. Like, that's gotta be like 60 knots here on touchdown. Jesus. Okay, now obviously as well left off the center line, and kind of like the same thing happened, but what the pilot did here in this case is not go around. Genuinely, this is kind of like the same case. The plane veers to the left and then crashes actually into some taxi signs. Alright, let's recreate that really quick and see what went wrong exactly. Alright, let's go ahead. Again, we're gonna be coming in very, very quickly. That is like the main point. Alright, yep, this will do just fine. 60 to 70 knots, looking good, way too fast, way too left on the center line, and we have to kind of force this landing right here. Okay, now we obviously have this veer to the, oh, this went very much more wrong here. Okay, there we go, we did veer to the left very, very much, and that ended up having us crash into grass here and actually damage the engine completely. Alright, let's check this out. Alright, this is a little bit of an exaggerated landing. I was a little faster than the actual case in real life, or was I? I mean, check the speed indicator. That is like genuinely some serious speed there. Okay, yeah, maybe the speed is not so unrealistic that I chose to go for. Okay, I'm forced to put the nose landing gear up, which does sometimes end up in the plane veering off to the left in this case, I guess. And there we go, the engine impacted the ground, and then we started rolling through grass. In this case, we're kind of lucky here because the grass, as you can tell, is not very well sloped or anything, and there are also no taxi signs that we were able to crash into. In this case, the pilot hit even 2 taxi signs. Let's check that out again. Boom, right in here. Yep, Echo taxi sign gone, and that taxi sign, oh, that is really bad. Yeah, the taxi signs didn't really do a favor for the landing gear, I guess, because I think the collision of the nose landing gear and the actual taxi sign here, the second one, caused the nose landing gear to collapse, and there we go, the plane flipped over, but almost flipped over. Very, very interesting landing indeed there. Here I have some savage comments. I knew this one would be a bad landing. It had all the bad signs. He even hit 2 of them. Yeah, it even says here in the comments a lot, if you have to force a landing, you should probably just go around. That is true. Now, this landing is a very interesting case again. I mean, honestly, who did not teach the student here how to properly use rudder? I mean, genuinely, I think there was even some rudder input into the left, which was probably what was wrong all along. I mean, obviously the landing sucked anyway. The center line was off to the left, and forced landing again, and then, well, we exited the runway, I guess, in quite an interesting way. I mean, it's not really the student to blame, it's really the flight school. I guess the person who sent him off to fly solo. Maybe, you know, there was some interesting conditions like winds pushing the plane to the left, but I very, very much doubt that. As you can see here, the plane veers to the left very, very much in this second. Probably not wind, maybe wrong rudder use is what went into this. Oh, that taxi sign. Alright, I'm glad the pilot, of course, here is fine as well. That is no problem. Very, very unlucky landing. It's really about luck sometimes, especially here with crashes. I mean, here in this case, we kind of did have a little bit more luck. We didn't crash into any signs. The only thing that's probably damaged now is, you know, the actual engine, which is not that good in a Cessna like this. A little bit of an older Cessna probably as well, because these old planes are pretty much worth as much as their engines are worth. You know what I mean? You know, when it comes to these older planes, the fuselage itself isn't worth that much. It's really the engine that does it, which is probably not too good in this case, right? All right, now, we have some more landings to check out. Let's maybe go ahead. Now, this is actually a very, very famous video, 1.4 million views, uploaded in 2012, so it's been a while. Again, a very short clip, 51 seconds. Let's just see. Here we have another student pilot flying somewhat of a Cessna 172, and he's performing a power-on stall. and that really does not go right. Oh, as you can see here, the power on stall did not particularly work. The plane turns excessively to the left, and that turns into an actual spin, which is a maneuver not intended for obviously the stall maneuver itself. That could be a crash on lower altitudes. We have to mention that, of course. If you stall out like this on lower altitudes, then you end up crashing into the ground, possibly. Maybe on landing or takeoff. That really has not gone very right. But obviously here, nothing happened. The plane returned to the runway. That is a totally normal maneuver to make in a plane like this at a high altitude. Alright then, let's perform a little bit of a quick power on stall right there. Okay, now how does this work? Let's just go ahead and set off into the air again. Maybe let's go for a little bit of a lower altitude. Let's just go ahead. I've never done this in the Cessna 1. I don't fly a Cessna 172 even, but I guess we're just gonna put in full power there, which is obviously not gonna cause the plane to stall out, of course. But what we're gonna do is pitch up the aircraft to a very extensive level. Oh, maybe that's a little bit too much, but whatever. We're gonna spin out anyway. Okay, now what we're gonna do is try to recover this aircraft, which doesn't particularly work. Actually, this is not that bad of a representation of that real-life flight there. Alright, obviously, as you can see, the plane is normally climbing up to a very extreme point and then turning to the left, which was exactly what happened here in this case. Now, of course, here in the flight simulator, we were quite lucky. Even though we were at very low altitudes, we had a lot of speeds on our clock, 120 knots. That is quite a bit for a Cessna 172. Maybe let's go for a little bit of a slower flight and do this again and see if we actually turn out to crash. Alright, 80 knots or something. Let's go full power again. And then pull here on the pitch and try stalling out the aircraft without putting in any rudder input, which was definitely what went wrong here. Alright, we have a stall, and as you can see, a spin, which was kind of what happened here in this real-life flight. And there we go. Okay, this that did work as well. Alright, now what you're obviously supposed to do is put in some right rudder. Let's just go ahead. Alright, come on, right rudder. There we go. Stabilized. This, I think this worked. Honestly, I don't fly a Cessna. I don't know the procedures exactly, but I think it should be right. Let's check that out. Looks a little smoother, doesn't it? Alright, there we go. Pulling up. And then we have a stall, but the rudder kicks in, and that is no problem. The plane does continue to fly, of course. And this thing can pull some things, right? Let's go ahead and do a loop. Guess that might work. Again, we might want to forget about right rudder. Right rudder use is very important. And there we go. Okay, maybe I'm kind of starting to doubt the realism of this flight simulator. There we go. Perfect loop. No problem. By the way, of course, we have to go for that right rudder because of that engine torque. Interestingly enough, all these cases here in this video have been a wrong use of rudder, or perhaps not using enough rudder. Yeah, so that's maybe a thing here. Yeah, so that's some very interesting student pilot crashes and mishaps and incidents, I guess. Again, all the links to the videos are in the video description, so you can check that out and comment on those videos, I guess, too. And so, yeah, guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night. Oh, you can also tell this was wrong use of rudder.